mean, I have a growing concern, right? Because
Mm.
I'm a sort of single father. And my ex-wife and I had, dual custody of our son from the time that we separated, and from when he was a baby. And yes, it's definitely like an ongoing concern for me, like how he grows up in this modern world, which is so noisy, and and there's so much complexity in the modern life. And I don't know if it's any correlation as to why you know you know kids find the human interaction as challenging as they do nowadays. Like, it's interesting.
Because of the digital,
I don't know.
the digital way of life, you mean, which makes it hard for kids nowadays to communicate, or?
Yeah, it's that, but then also, the challenges, like how they mentally deal with the complexities of the world that they're moving into, right?
Have you pinpointed a way that you've already applied, or you're looking to change up to guide your son to manage that noise and to reduce the complexity?
I wouldn't say I've got any sort of silver bullets.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I hope we can just keep, maintain a good, healthy relationship and just stay in perspective, and have good conversations about anything that's going on for him or me.
Yeah.
Try and be as open, and obviously from a age appropriate level, open around what's kind of going on in my life and his life, and
You guys are very open during breakfast or the dinner table. You do share quite a fair bit, or?
Yeah, we try to be. I mean, he's a bit of he's a preteen now, so it's quite interesting to see how sort of the communication has changed. But
He's going
yeah,
to smell like pizza every day now, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw my cousin the other day, and he goes to me, the cuteness is gone, Jeff. My kids are like year 7, year 8. I don't want to hug them anymore because they smell like pizza. They don't wash properly.
Yeah, it's definitely, they're not little kids anymore. The cuteness is definitely gone. So you've got 2 little ones at home, mate. So I'd make the most of it. I'd make the most of it while
I'm trying to
cute.
extract as much information I can from you to ready myself for the next phase.
Feels like it happens overnight, but it happens across probably for all, at least in my case, it happened over 6 months. From being a little boy and still cute, and having that little boy, I don't know, cheekiness and playfulness, to now being that sort of preteen and flooded with hormones. He's still super kind and just a top person. I'm just amazed at how good a person he actually is.
Yeah.
But you can see the changes. He's like, it was funny the other day. He's getting just the standard sort of shadow over his lip. Just coming up to 13. It's like, when you don't shave it, just wait. Typical stuff that we heard when we were kids, right?
Yeah.
I think he got a razor at his mum's place and shaved his upper lip. I'm like, mate, okay, that's it. Okay, get ready. Okay, that's your life from now on. Okay, now you've started. There's no way to stop you.
Wait. Is he the razor guy, or is he the electric shaver guy? Sorry, maybe he's an electric shaver.
I think he just grabbed a razor, but it was quite funny, right? He's like, no, I just had enough. I just have to do it. I'm like, I said, all right. I said, I get it. I said, I went through the same thing. So I think I approached it the same way as well. I didn't ask my dad. I just grabbed one of his razors and just went for it.
Mate, I'm trying to grow my moustache for November, mate. This is taking me 20 years, mate.
I think you might get there this year, mate.
I think I might. I'm holding out. That's beautiful, mate. Hey.
Yeah, this is cool. So it's very cool. So I mean, try and stay as open and as honest as I can with him. Again, he's coming up to 13, so I don't want to, so I've just got to keep it appropriate for his level. But
I think
it's good. I think it's developing those relationships. It's trying to develop the relationship with him so that it's positive. So he really kind of has that level of, I don't know what it is to be a good person and good human and contribute. Have like good morals and keep his understanding of what's good and
Mm.
you know, keep that sort of growing as well. And, you know, at the same
I think
time,
I think
yeah.
for me, the biggest thing for my kids is that the conversation must always be open.
Mm,
If there's anything I'm working on, is to always maintain that dynamic where I'm just sending out a guy. You know, yes, I'm your dad, right? But at the same time, I can be also be your friend.
mm,
You know, I may have a moustache in the works. You know, I might be a bit taller. You know, I might sound a bit different, right? But at the end of the day, I'm just like you. And I think for me, having that conversation with my son and daughter will be key going forward. And I
mm,
think that's what I'm going to put importance on. And
mm.
also, we talk about education, we talk about private schooling, we talk about extracurricular, we talk about anything, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
think for
good.
me, it's always maintaining that, time in the day where we can just have that conversation. And that's what I want. That's my
Mm.
goal when it comes to my parenting going forward.
Yeah, it's golden, man. That'd be cool, right? You know, if
Mm,
you get it. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I try and sort of, you know, talk about, you know, what feelings, you know, maybe coming up, like in generally, you know, are we enjoying our lives, or you know, even when, you know, so you know, I had a go at him a couple of weeks ago when we were going for dinner, and we spoke about it afterwards. But I remember sitting at the time and saying, "Hey, listen, if you're really upset with me, you get every right to be. It's okay. You know, you're allowed to have your feelings, but if you need to go for a walk to like calm it down, I said you can.
mm.
I can feel it in you, right?" And obviously he was reacting to me having a go at it. But
It's
you know,
nice.
and you know, we spoke about it afterwards, right? I think a week or so afterwards. And like he explained, you know, what came up for him and that type of stuff. And I'm like, I said, you're gonna have that stuff, right? You're gonna, you know, your kids and like anything else, right? Then you push your buttons when you get it, allow your space to actually feel,
Yeah,
you know, your own emotions, but then being able to come back to it and speak about it and talk about what was going on for
that's
him,
huge.
what was going on for me. That was pretty cool, man. Like if I can maintain that with him, I'd be pretty stoked. I'd be
That's
pretty
so
happy.
wow. So after when you had a go at him, you actually came back around, calmed down, and you guys had a chat to
Yeah,
debrief in a way.
yeah, exactly. So it was like a week later or something. He's like, "Oh, listen, I want to talk about, you um, you know, what
That's
went on
nice,
that
buddy.
night."
That's lovely.
Well, that's kind of, you know, if all of the different nuances that need to go into someone and into a relationship, you know, whether it's I don't know, like you know, a parenting relationship or an intimate relationship.
Mm,
But if you can, I don't know, come back to that level of communication at some point, even if it's heated at the time, you can't do it at the time, right? I get that. You know, you know, I'm definitely got some passion, I've got some fire in my blood, right? Sometimes, you know, when I get to that state of mind, you know, I've got to wait till I can have a more rational thought and a rational conversation. But yeah, it took us a week, and we went into it, and I just thought that's cool. If we can keep, you know, if we can get into a discussion at the time, like on the spot, great.
mm.
But if we know that that window and that door is always open to come back to it and say, hey, you know, this went down. Don't know what was going on for you, but this is what I heard, and this is how I felt. You know, and then you know, because I apologized to him at the end of it. I was like, listen, you know, I kind of messed up. You know, I was reacting to
Was
something.
it indeed a fault of you, Gersh, or were
Yeah,
you
it
more
was.
doing it in a sense of just to tone it down, or
No, I snapped at him. No, I snapped at him because, you know, I just did. Whatever was going on for me was going on for me, and I just snapped at him and probably
mm,
took it out on him. You know, it wasn't a healthy, it wasn't a healthy interaction, right? And that's me owning that completely.
mm.
Um,
Great
but
self-awareness.
yeah, and so it was good. I mean,
Takes
it was,
humility, by the way.
yeah. Well, I think when you're faced with someone that you care about and you love, and they turn around and say, "Hey, that was kind of cool. What was going on for you? This is how I felt."
Mm.
If you can't be, if you can't show humility in that situation, I don't know when you can. You know, I think
That's a very
you
good
kind
point,
of,
buddy.
I think I don't know if we owe anything to anyone, but
Yeah.
if you can't sort of really see, the truth in your own being during those months, you're going to struggle with ever seeing it.
If you don't,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. If you don't mind me asking, Gersh, like it's could be a bit of a touchy question. How is it as a obviously you mentioned a divorce, there's a new partner. How is it as a single dad? Is it challenging? Is it less challenging? I don't know. I'm just curious, just to hear it, really.
Because it's kind of all that I really know. I mean, is it challenging? I think parenting is challenging. I think, whether you're in, whatever the family makeup is, I think there's greater complexity with, being a single parent. But I think the greatest thing that really made it less complex and less challenging for my ex-wife and I was the fact that I think we put our own differences to the side and created a very amicable sort of trusting and kind of loving environment for him, because we realized, we had to sort of put his needs first. And his mum's a great mum, she's a great person as well. And so, it just goes to show that if you can get to that, that's great. If you can't get to that, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. Like I don't know how else to describe it. And I think that's the reason why for me, it made, being a sort of single parent much easier, because we get along really well and we co-parented so well. We don't get along all the time, and that's just the nature of it. But we co-parent really well, and that's the most important thing.
It's very unselfish. I think it's a great approach, in a sense that where you get, what, we're gonna put our differences aside. Our son has nothing to do with it. We need to put him first.
And that's enabled us to do some pretty cool stuff, right? Because we have a good co-parenting relationship. We have the ability to be flexible, right? And and that flexibility allows people to have a good
there's harmony.
Yeah, it creates like a really great understanding and allows you to kind of live a life without the potential additional resentment and the additional that you can potentially have. And I know it's not easy, but we were kind of lucky. We had a breakup that didn't end in the nastiness that you hear sometimes, right?
Sometimes you don't have that choice in a way, do you?
You don't have that choice. Yeah, you don't have a choice. So I mean, we were fortunate that we're healthy humans, and we approach things in a particular way. We're both on the same page, and we got through it. And we put his needs first, and still try to do that as best as possible. Don't always succeed, by and large. We do, and that's the most important thing. And I think that just transfers into kind of the rest of his life, right? He's knowing that his needs are really important and kind of sit above our own personal grievances. So, yeah, I don't know. It's, like you said, not everyone has that opportunity. That you can't say everyone can do that. It's just, it'd be amiss of me to say something like that. But to answer your question, yeah, it was complex. It was challenging. Man, I remember, and it was back when we were both at TR in Sydney, right? I remember the first day that I think he was in preschool. Definitely was in preschool. Maybe like just a couple of years old. Remember the first day as a sort of single dad, getting him ready to dropping him off at preschool and then getting to work on time. Man, I remember how ecstatic I felt. Like what an achievement. Yeah. I remember that feeling,
Mm.
and that was pretty cool. It's pretty funny actually. When I think about it, now, like it's a long time ago now, but I remember what that felt like. It's like, oh, I did it. I can do this.
It was a nice little win back in the day, and it's sort of stayed with you in a way, hasn't it? But like what you said, you're very thankful in terms of your ex partner and yourself having that harmonious sort of approach on how best to raise your son going forward.
There's that, and like there's one other thing that I'll just sort of add into it from a contextual perspective.
Mm.
We were living in New York when we separated, and so when she left to come back to Sydney with my son, I had to stay a little bit longer in New York to finish off some sort of business stuff. But in a very challenging global role where I was traveling, I don't know, 3 weeks out of every 6. Which took me so I was, and like long haul, really hectic travel schedule, and crazy global team, trying to grow a new product line, a new business line, and I would say I was definitely probably way too much time in the office, or doing things professionally, and that was a key focus during that time of New York. And then when we separated, I got given the gift of learning how to actually be like a dad, like a full-time dad. And so that was pretty cool.
Funny how these things work out in a way. But like you and I, we always talk about, the outcome could have been either way.
Either way, man. Either way. Man, I remember being in New York. This is heavy. I don't know if I've even told many people about this, but I remember being in New York and I had the choice of, do I just stay in New York? Right? Like my career was flying. Right? Like I could just stay in New York, keep doing the career thing. I don't know where the hell I'd be now. Right? Like I wouldn't have a clue. Right?
Sliding doors, my friend. Sliding doors.
Right? But like I remember like having that thought, and just it was a thought. It wasn't even something that made me question.
You mean back then, or even now? Sorry.
Back then, I was like shit. I could stay here, and I could, I don't know, be that type of father, and that's lives over here and comes back maybe once or twice a year, and like doing that whole thing. Which I'm not judging you for doing it.
Hey,
but
each their own.
It's each their own. But like for me, I'm like, it wasn't even a question. Like, no. I want to, be with my son. I never sort of really anticipated, being separated or anything like that in the first place, let alone, me staying in New York. But man, I could have, like you said, sliding doors moments. I could have stayed in New York and just kept on that career track, right? Hell, wouldn't have a clue where the hell I'd be, right? Don't know what I'd be doing.
Maybe you'd have been too busy for me, mate. Obviously we don't know, right?
Just don't know, man. And so, but it's interesting, right? Like it's funny you say that. And then I come back to Sydney, transfer back, in that Margaret Street office, connect with you, and 10, 12 years down the track, here we are.
I reckon it was a fantastic decision.
No, it was the only decision. For me, it was the only decision. It was, it was cool. I tell you, and that was one of the big things as well. So,
and there's no regrets, of course.
It gave me that gift, man. Like, learning how to be like a full-time dad and figuring that out, and then creating a relationship.
It's special, mate. It's truly, it's a one-of-a-kind experience. And I know by all means you might have 2, 3, whatever, how many kids, right? But fatherhood in general is it's a bit of a gift. And like what you mentioned, it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you see the mirrors of yourself, right? Sometimes, and you see the replication from your parents come up here and there, and you're like,
oh, in terms of your parenting style, sorry, or
yeah, sometimes you see that stuff come through,
I'm glad I parked it to the side.
Yeah.
Not saying it's right or wrong, right? But it took me 35 years for my dad to go to me. You know what, Jeff? I think you know what you're doing.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty powerful from my dad.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty cool.
my dad is your typical Chinese parent. We apparently my dad comes from a region where it's very much a patriarchal society.
Is that right? Yeah.
The man is the man.
Mm.
And to see my dad say that was very humbling, and the relationship has definitely improved
Yeah, that's
because of
good.
that. And you know how I said to you, when I go look forward with being a dad, it's very much having those conversations. The most important thing I forgot to add was that it's an equal conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, not bringing those judgments into the conversations.
No, there's no because I'm 30 years ahead
Yeah.
of you or whatever, or you should listen to me. No, not at all.
Yeah. No, I like that, man. It's cool. That's very sweet.